Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to go over my tournament teams for the season 14, and it will probably be the same or very similar in season 15 because I don't recall there will be any significant changes. So first team is going to be 8 Dooms. The reason there are 8 is because I have Victoria as an X, otherwise it would be 7. But these 8 Dooms 3 Monarchs are pretty much unkillable with Babylon. Babylon just spams ultimates like crazy, probably the most ultimates in the game by far per round she has, and she basically stuns the entire enemy team. You can play around this by using Hela in the backline, because Babylon will hit Hela 5 times and then enemy Hela will stun your entire team, so it's pretty easy to counter. But since you can't know the matchups, it's safe to say Babylon is one of the strongest heroes in the PvP right now. Pair it together with Leviathan and Behemoth for the speed, and then having a better odds to reflect enemy skills to themselves is already insane. On top of that, we have Victoria and Sorvijan Ayushta. With legendary runes, she's immortal for 3 rounds. You can bypass this immortality with a splash, like damage from the Sourceborn Marina. Splash damage ignores it. Her own Heart of the Demon ignores it. And there's one more thing I'm missing out on that ignores also the immortality, but I can get my head around it right now. But yeah, you can bypass that with some units, but it's pretty rare it will happen. So this team is really hard to kill. The reason I'm using Mauve in this team without any other executioner relics that I have mentioned in the past is because Babylon makes sure the Mauve procs really easily because of the amounts of action she does. So Mauve is one of the better relics now with Babylon, so it's easy to proc, otherwise only Arcane or Bella was getting close to procking it or other procking it. And the other relics I'm using is the Call of the Urgency for the better sustain and blocking the enemy skills. Because if they don't do skill, they will get its silence from the Crimson Chalice, so this is all just negating enemy skills. So the new relic is really amazing at just 2 stars, it excels at 6 and 8 stars, but at 2 stars it's completely usable and really good in PvP. So I have the counter to enemy spells, and if they do spells, there's another chance I will reflect them back with Leviathan, and overall this team has insane great sustain, insane CC, and insane damages as well. The artifact that I'm running is the Doom's damage increase. I believe that position 1 for Babylon is the best right now, although you can use her in position 3, but you're risking it if enemy also has Babylon to stun her. But position 1 gives the most HP in, so I'm pretty much just using her for the bonus HP, so she lives longer. Team 2 is 6 Dooms now. It's 6 because I did X my Arthur, but my Dahlia or Cleo are not X, so otherwise it would be possible to have 8 Dooms as well in this case, but this is pretty much just Striker Dooms, relying on Dahlia swapping with Cleopatra and getting more HP and buffs to the team, as well as Pledge, and then reflecting it all back with Doris and Arthur. Arthur isn't really a great hero anymore, he's pretty just a filler that has a nice skill that reflects debuffs, and its chance is low, that's the issue, but he's no longer really one of the main Dooms, or not even top 10 Dooms in my opinion, so yeah, he's just become a filler pretty much, just like most of these heroes. Doris could be still slotted in the main team because of her unique legendary runes, but Ophelia and the other Dooms that I am not really using are pretty much just bench versions or just second, third team. Halissa is still great if you want to use any of these heroes in other team. Halissa with the Babylon is still truly great, but the rest of the heroes are not so reliable anymore and not so usable when it comes to Dooms. So for the relics I'm using the double actions because these heroes do need a double action in my opinion, especially Dahlia and Arthur. And then we have the stun relic, so the enemy doesn't move, because if they move I'm pretty much dead if I don't get the scale up. And then we have the scales, or rather the scale, because I do have Ophelia, and Ophelia has a nice chance to confuse enemies, which will then increase our max HP if that happens. If not, then this relic is pretty useless and you might as well use this because you also have Ophelia. So she has the Sanctuary, which benefits from this relic. As for the artifact, I'm using the relic stun duration by 2 rounds increase, so this relic has even more value. The third team is what I consider to be one of the best teams. You just remove Lilith for Lucifer and this team can pretty much be beaten. combo with Venus and Amaterasu is insane because of the amounts of actions and the amounts of ultimates that will be happening. Amaterasu increases the shield, or rather generates the shield, Venus ults when the shields break, etc. Arcane Doorbell with Elisha, just the best combo in the game. And Lilith is a filler because she pairs nicely with the stat increase from these stats and when she increases her stats. So overall just a nice combo, but Lilith is the most flexible unit in here. You don't have to really run Lilith. Artifact is the ethereal damage, but if you want to remove Lilith or don't have Lilith, you can use any other hero. For example, Elovin would do the job, or even Lysandra, honestly. If you want 3 monarchs, you can also use Dorabella, it won't be a really issue, or Portia, even better in my opinion. So yeah, Lilith is the flexible unit that is pretty much just filling the slot. You can also use Eudora in this, but I'm using Eudora in the 10th team, which is a terrible team, so Eudora can easily slot in here, because Eudora also counters Babylon because of the healing rapture she gives. As for the relics, the reason for ordering the Scepter instead of Sarcophagus first is you don't want to proc Scepter instantly. You want enemies to apply CC, you want enemies to apply debuffs, so then you have Scepter removing all of them. If I do this, then the Sarcophagus will proc at the start of the battle and Scepter would remove nothing. So this is the ordering, and then the crown for the last relic, because it seems that it has been fixed or just works more reliably now when applying the seal debuff. The fourth team is what I consider to be the best Mystifiers version, so all these 5 units are quite expensive. You need them all 8 to 9 stars to be pretty much viable, so Mystifiers have become quite expensive to be truly good and have odds of beating stronger teams. Obviously the artifact is Mystifiers damage, and as for the relics, I'm using the Underworld key into instant proc of the Gleipnir, so our heroes can use their ultimates round 1, and then I have instant proc of Cauldron, so they don't die to any kind of reflect or enemy hitting back like Babylon. So Cauldron and Gleipnir are really good combo, and Gleipnir especially if you proc it instantly with Eve, because Eve gives all allies double action, so Gaia and Tsuki will, for example, ult 3 times here because of their passive, everyone else will ult twice, and Eve will ult insane amounts of times. Fifth team is going to be a worse version of Mystifier, so this version is solid if you use Lucifer instead of Lancelot or Mulan, but Lucifer is a must if you want this team to work. I don't want to waste Lucifer in here for now, I'm testing her in other team. In team 7 is where I test Lucifer for now, so with Avengers I do want my Avengers to guarantee I win. But the 5th team is just simply filler leftovers from the Mystifiers. You don't want to use Sandra in seasonal content, she's pretty terrible. You can use Catherine instead of Mulan, which is also a solid option, or like you can go wrong with either. I'm using Lancelot in position 1 to be healthy and have more odds of stealing enemy heroes with his legendary runes, and then you have Monarchs for the sustain and Catherine for the heal and the attack conversion, along with Shred's attack increase. For the relics, it's just simply leftover the Mystifier relics, and as for the artifact, I'm using the Holy Shield application whenever the relics proc. So overall a pretty solid team, but you can't really expect this team to get any more than 10 wins at like ideal case scenario. You can also use Emily instead of Lancelot or something, so maybe soon enough we will have 3 possible Mystifiers teams if they will be as good as Eve. So the 6th team is just Avenger Phantoms, one of the strongest lineups. You can replace Hela with Lucifer. This lineup will be unbeatable. I won my Foggy last time because of it. Pretty much this lineup with Lucifer instead of Hela beat all teams, even Ethereals with Lucifer. So unstoppable lineup. For the relics, it's the obvious Dooms combo, it's the obvious Avengers combo, Hand of Tyr because it procs on whenever Hela stuns enemies, it will increase the allies HP, and then Chest to ensure the Magatama procs, so we have the last words effect, and I don't really need to explain anything else, this team has been explained many times. I'm using the attack increase as an artifact. Team 7, as I showed, is the Aphrodite and Lucifer. As for Monarchs, 5 Avengers. It should be strong team, it should not be beaten, because I want Aphrodite to have safe place with Lucifer by banning enemy Phantom Illusion, so my Aphrodite can go and kill all enemies. I'm hoping this team gets at least 15 to 16 or even 18 wins. With Lucifer it should be definitely possible. For the relics, I'm using the banner into the newest relic, although I don't really appreciate the newest Night Stalker relic. it's not really that good, but there's no really good Adventure relics that are middle slot. I could use Sword of Chaos or rather the Blades of Chaos, but it's like I don't really care about additional Holy Shields when I have Banner already in it, so maybe I could run this for the max HP increase, but then again, it's really bad. It's only like 100% max HP increase, which is really terrible in seasonal content. So I'm just using this relic because with Lucifer, this relic is not all that bad, but it's definitely not good either. For the artifact, I'm using the damage reduction for the first 3 rounds, so I can ensure my Lucifer and Aphrodite will scale up, as well as Isis and Hecate, so overall just a scaling and pretty much beating enemy team on the timeout if possible. Then I have the 8th team, which is Pandora with OG and basically a bunch of monarchs. Victoria is a filler because she has bind, still pretty unique effect, but a bit outdated nowadays. We have Yorm to increase the damage of the ult spammers, which is Shang and Pandora, and then Audrey to steal enemy holy shields as well to be a monarch. So good sustain in the team, 3 Glorians for the CC immunity, and then we have the relics, just basically any relic that increases the energy instantly to proc our Kusanagi and then basically kill enemy team as fast as possible or freeze them with Kusanagi if possible. So overall a solid team, but nothing to be expected of an 18 win, perhaps like 15 win should be expected of this team if there's a good RNG on our side. Then we have the 9th team, which is basically also Valiantor Glorians, just like before, but this time it's not monarchs, it doesn't have monarchs. It has instead Wu Zetian for the protection, we have Odin to remove holy shields as well, and then Marina to prevent enemy phantom illusion happening, so we have Hades and Wu Zetian, which will steal 2 enemy heroes and basically only leave 3. And then this is where the Diana, Odin and Marina come to an action, basically killing all 3 enemy heroes pretty instantly. For the relic I'm using the attack increase for Valiantors, and for the artifacts I'm using the Thunderbelt, so it basically does nice damage, helping the other heroes to scale up. The Plunder Gate in position 2 to act as Kusanagi, and then Python's Mirror to basically have a revival if something goes wrong. And then the 10th team, basically the worst team of them all. Not sure what I have built in there. It's basically Wukong, but all of the best units have been taken into other teams. So it's Wukong and his lone army of protector fillers that have no place to be. You can also use Mulan instead of Eudora in here. But yeah, overall this team is pretty horrible and I don't think it will make past 10 wins, but I'm open to surprises, so we will see what happens. The relics are whatever I have left over with the Cauldron for the Wukong and the Judgment Blades for the Execute if it even happens. And for the artifact I'm using the Stun in the first round, so I have a chance to actually proc the Cauldron. So those were the teams for the Season 14 that I have been using and will likely use in Season 15, along with adding the newest heroes and replacing some of the older heroes, perhaps the Mystifiers or perhaps the Team 10, but some of these teams will be adjusted accordingly when new heroes releases. So thank you for watching, hopefully you have learned something new or have updated your teams to if you can match this, and yeah, see you in the next one.